Okay, now we let you all know now, this is Rock and Roll Sunday. We're deliberately doing this. We figured, burning bull, white stone ceremony, we could do the rock and roll stuff at least for one Sunday. So we just let you know that. Today's talk is called A Tiny Crack in Heaven. And it's actually based upon the story I'm telling, or the actual write-up for our January newsletter that I wanted to share with you that you'll be getting when you pick it up. And it's from C.S. Lewis. It's called The Great Divorce. By the way, we're all suffering from the Great Divorce, aren't we?
Yeah.
Divorced from who it is that we truly are. We feel separate and alone, abandoned from that which we truly are. Everybody suffers from this great divorce. It's only an illusion and a trick of our mind, but yet we keep it alive every single day. All of us do. So in The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis, he says it this way: standing on the ground of heaven, a newly arrived soul is shown a tiny crack in the ground near his feet. He sees that all the earth and hell, all negativity, all suffering, all problems, all ambitions, all limitations, all wars, all famines, everything in the world of time and humanity exists in that tiny crack in the ground. He comes to understand that life in this tiny crack is compressed and stifling, while the ground of heaven extends all around us, and it's expansive and unlimited and huge. The greatest joy or the worst sorrow in the worldly life only takes place in the crack in the ground of heaven. One moment's experience of the vastness of heaven within us is 1,000,000 times more positive than the most negative experience we have here on earth. What is positive is infinite and increasing, and unceasing, and what is negative is compressed and constantly changing. So here at Unity, we will spend these next 518,400 minutes, I wrote it down this time, standing on the expansive ground of heaven to allow our being to awaken to what we are and where we stand right now on holy, sacred ground. And when you fall into the crack, we will have teachings that will help bring you back. Say amen. And this is part of that teaching. Today, this white stone ceremony is about entering into that awareness. In the Kabbalah, in the Talmud, it says 99% of us exist in the expansive place called heaven. And only 1% of us is having this experience of the crack in heaven. I know, and it's true for me and it's true for you, I feel like it's exactly the opposite. 99% of the time, I feel like I'm stuck in the crack in heaven, and 1% of the time I get glimpses of my true nature. But it's not true. It's upside down. So we are here to expand ourselves into the awareness of love's presence, which is our natural inheritance. And there are beings, cosmic beings, both invisible and visible, working from within and without to help you. Once you begin to feel worthy of the love that you truly are, once you begin to lift yourself up just a little bit towards it, their hands reach down to pick you up. Do you feel that? You're not alone on this journey of awakening. I'm not doing this myself. Once you begin to feel worthy enough, once you begin to feel, yes, I can, I am one with God, it begins to lift you up and you stand on the expansive ground of heaven on earth. And today becomes a perfect day. This becomes your new, fresh moment. So last week, we took a look at the crack in heaven of our past that keeps us down and feeling small. And we made a vow to transform those things that get in our way. The if-onlys, we said last week. If only he had not died. If only I'd had. If only I'd said. If only I'd moved. If only I was someone else. All those if-onlys are part of the story that keeps us imprisoned and trapped in our small system of thought. Our own BS, we call it, here at Unity. So when we talk about the white stone ceremony, it comes from Revelation in the Bible. Are you ready for revelation? For this new year. Are you ready for me to preach to you right out of the Bible now? Some ministers are doing this right now. We will interpret it, of course, very differently. Let anyone, we always do. Some like it, some don't. Let anyone who has an ear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. You've heard me say this before. There's a church service going on within you 24 hours, 7 days a week. You never know who's going to step up to the pulpit and take the microphone. You are your own living church right here. To everyone who overcomes, I will give some of my hidden manna, and I will give a white stone. And on that white stone is written a new name that no one knows except the one who receives it. The name of God, I am that I am in me, is that name of God in me. I am literally an inlet and an outlet of all that God is, period. That's who I am. Every day is a fresh, brand new day. And when in the Bible during these times, when someone went to prison, they were given, when they got out, when they served their time, they were given a white stone. And you could take this anywhere to anyone and say, I've served my time. I'm new and I'm fresh. I'm right here with you. Don't hold me to the past, to my if-onlys. I've served my time, and now today is a brand new, fresh day. Isn't that cool? Every day is a brand new, fresh day. So we begin again. We begin again. It's a clean slate. What you want to put on there is completely up to you. If you want to stay imprisoned in the crack of heaven and believe you're all by yourself, only go around once in life, grab all the gusto you can stay there and you'll get plenty of people to hang out with you in that pity party of forgetfulness. If, however, you choose to wake up, there'll be hands reaching out to help lift you up. I hope when you come here every Sunday, what you leave with is the sense of there are no limits on you except the limits you place on yourself. And every day is a brand new, fresh day. I hope you walk out and you feel, I can start over again. No matter what happened last week, no matter how many times I fell into the crack in heaven, I can pull myself out and begin again. That's why we have forgiveness, so we can begin again and not be held back by the past. We can live in the present moment and continually awaken over and over and over again, because every single one of us falls back into our small-mindedness. Every single one of us is imprisoned by our own thoughts, words, deeds, and actions. The moment we decide to be free, guess what? The door opens wide, and you walk into a whole new world and a whole new way of being, a whole new, fresh start for you. And all it takes is your willingness to practice, practice, practice. When you fall into the crack, remember, don't attack. Oh, I've done it again. Bring awareness to it. Be lifted up out of it. Many, many ways, in many, many moments, we get a chance to do that. My example this week is literally not about me. Oh, wow. That's huge. My example is about Mary Lou Palmer. She was at the first service. I got complete permission to do this example with her. We were standing in that spot that we often stand in where the offices are. I don't know if you've ever been in the hallway there, but my office is here, and that's here, and then there's the doorway. And for some reason, there's always 15 to 20 people standing in that one little tiny spot. A lot of energy happens there. Have you noticed that? It's a feng shui nightmare, but we all stay there, and we love it. And Mary Lou was sharing her story with Annette about how she abused or used the truth while she was with her family of origin during the Christmas time. She's standing there, and I'm kind of rubbing her shoulders behind her, and she said, when I went to be with my family, I decided I was just going to go ahead and let go of my dietary restrictions for while I was with the family. Not make a big deal about what I could eat or couldn't eat. I was just going to eat and enjoy everything and then pick it back up later. And she goes, so I did that, and I really enjoyed not being constricted and small by that. However, she said, when I got home, I went to put on my coat, and when I put my coat on, the coat didn't fit. She said, I ate so much food while I was there for the 2 weeks, I literally couldn't get my coat to fit. And I fell into the crack in heaven. I'm using that example. I fell into the guilt, shame, and blame, the favorite prison company that hang out with you. And she said, I began to beat myself up. Why didn't you just listen to yourself and not eat all that food? You must have put on 20 pounds. You can't even close your jacket. You are such an idiot. You're so stupid. What is wrong with you? Anybody relate to that? Yeah. Guilt, shame, and blame is a train we get on in a second, and it happens like that. It's instantaneous. She goes, I can't believe I did this to myself. And then she just beat herself up some more. We all have a master's degree in doing that. And then when she realized what had happened was, she went and picked up the coat, and a little bit later on, she took a look and saw that whereas the coat looked like it was her coat, in fact, it was not her coat. It was a look-alike. It was her granddaughter's coat. She had put her granddaughter's coat on. And of course, her granddaughter's coat didn't fit. You know, she was stuck in separation. When we put on the coat of forgetfulness, it doesn't fit. Although we try to make it fit. I try to believe in separation. I try to make it fit. I'm trying to go out there and make my life work and tote that barge and lift that bale and go out there and make happen. And it's not fitting. It's not supposed to fit. So in this room, we are taking off the coat of separation and replacing it with the cloak of oneness. Do you feel the difference? Yeah. And when you put that cloak of oneness on, it fits perfectly, because it's got your name in it. It says, Richard the Christ, this is my garment. I want you to wear it. Jim, the Christ. David, the Christ. Wear this. This is who you are. Put this on. Wrap yourself in it. It is the garment of your awakening. It's the cloak of your knowing who you are. Stop stifling yourself and trying to fit in this world. You won't until you let go of the world. And then when you let go of it, you inherit all of it. It becomes the Father's good gift to give it to you. And then when you do, you receive hidden manna. Well, what is hidden manna? When the Israelites were wandering in the wild places in the desert, they left the Egyptian state of consciousness. And they went and they wandered in the wilderness. For 40 years they were there. They needed to complete a very long cycle to get out of their old way of being, because even though they weren't in bondage anymore to the physical Egyptian state of consciousness, they were still in bondage to their own imprisoned thought, word, deed, and habit patterns. They were still stuck. And so they needed time to get through that. You know what's good about incarnating on the planet right now? It doesn't take as much time to get the awakening to happen for you. It can literally be instantaneous, because we live in times when the door of heaven is open wide. The expansive help that's needed for us right now is here, right now on this time. You've embodied in a moment in time in a body where the hands will reach up and lift you up on eagle's wings. It's here, it's right now. But they were there for 40 years to complete the cycle, to get out of the bondage of what they were imprisoned to. And even though they weren't physically imprisoned by the Egyptians, they were still in bondage to their own thought, word, deed, and habit patterns. And so they were given teachings, and one of them was manna. They were given manna from heaven. Manna from heaven. Manna from heaven was like Ezekiel bread. Have you ever seen the ingredients in Ezekiel bread? That stuff that you can get. If you eat it, it's good for you. It's coriander seed in the Bible in Moses' time. And if you put it together and smashed it up, you'd have just what you need for 1 day's worth of food. But you couldn't store it. You couldn't put any of it towards anything in the future. There were no refrigerators, there was no freezers, you couldn't freeze the bread. You got what you needed when you needed it. It's called your daily bread. And so they got used to depending upon God's spirit, essence, spiritual manna for what they needed for that day. Nothing for the future. That's a very Buddhist spiritual teaching for us. And they were also given the name of God. The name of God, when Moses went up the top of the mountaintop and came down, and by the way, Moses was the guru, the avatar of the Old Testament. When he came down, he gave them the new name of God, which I've already given to you. The new name of God. Not a God separate, not a God apart, not a God on the crack in heaven, but a God all around you, emanating from within you. The name of that God in you is, I am that I am. And every time you speak the name of God, I am, it waits to fill the void. Well, what are you going to call yourself today? I'm tired. I'm weak, I'm afraid, I'm not sure. And you get the response from the beloved who says always, yes, you're tired, you're weak, you're afraid, you're not sure. Oh man, I'm really tired. And you don't have to wait till the end of your life to get, you were just calling yourself that so you became it. That's how the principle works. If you instead you stand in the crack of heaven and say, I need help, I want to awaken, and know who it is that I truly am, you'll get the help to be pulled out of that smallness and enter into your greatness. Every time you speak the word of God, the angels and angels of heaven rush towards you to help you, give you what you're asking for. That's how beautiful God's presence is. There are no limits upon what we can ask upon the Lord God of our being, as long as it harms no one and brings forth goodness and kindness to the planet. You'll get your yes, any way you look at it. What are you asking for today? You'll get the help that you need when you need it, in just the way that you need it. Begin to ask yourself for help from a bigger kind of consciousness. And when you're feeling small and constricted and restricted and fall back into the crack in heaven, don't beat yourself up because you're there again. Just spend as many moments as you can getting out. And you'll get the help that you need to do just that. So last week, we got rid of the list of the if-onlys. We transformed everything that was not like our true self that we wish to get rid of. And by the way, nobody does this perfectly. I've already had to do the burning bowl ceremony again and again and again last week. And I'll need to do my burning bowl service again and again and again next week. You don't just do it one time, you do it how many times? As many times as you have to. And then when you do that, you're lifting yourself up, you're reaching out to get the help that you need, and you're pulled up on this sacred ground. And when you're pulled up on that sacred ground, you find everything you've always wanted, you already have. Because not so much of what you do, but because of what you are. It's already present right here and now. It's been given unto you right here and now. You take off the coat of forgetfulness and you wrap yourself in the cloak of remembering, and all this divine energy you've been looking for begins to channel and move through you in right and appropriate ways for your life to work. So let's take a moment before we go into our song and our little meditation to look at our crack in heaven, our lesson summation. The first point we said was this. In this new year, we're going to spend lots of time standing. Wait a second, go back to the first one, please. This is not it. There's one more before this. Thank you. The greatest joy or worst sorrow in our worldly life only takes place in the tiny crack in the ground of heaven. One moment's experience of the vastness of heaven within us is 1,000,000 times more positive than the most negative experience here on earth. That's how powerful it is. What is positive is infinite and unceasing, and what is negative is compressed and constantly changing. Please, the next one. In this new year, we'll spend lots of time standing on the sacred ground, expansive ground, the holy ground of heaven. And when we fall into that tiny crack, we'll remember, point number one. First of all, I am an inlet and outlet of all that God is. Say that with me. I am an inlet and outlet of all that God is. Eric Butterworth said that. I am that I am is the name of God in me. When I call anyone or anything, it becomes true for me. We are constantly co-creating our future in this present moment. Every adjustment we make in this holy moment affects what we will experience in our future moments. So today, when you find yourself trying to fit into the world of appearances, take that coat off and put on the cloak of remembering. I am here to be a vessel and a channel of bringing heaven on earth. That I am has sent me to this moment to be the voice and the heart through which heaven is made known on earth. And I will take that role and that assignment, and I will allow myself to enter into this fresh new day doing just that. We'll take a moment now to have a song that leads into our meditation.